जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जना। यमुनातीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी। जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे।
जय राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधा वृंदावन चंद्र राधे।
जय वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम वृंदावन धाम। जय वृंदावन धाम। जय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय। जय गौरनिताय
गौरनिताय गौरनिताय गौरनिताय। जय गौरनिताय।
जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद। जय जय प्रभुपाद
प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतशी श्रीमद् His Divine Grace Abhay Charan Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki। ISKCON Samsthapana Acharya Savior of the whole world Srila Prabhupada ki। Jai Om Vishnupada Nitya Leela Pravishta His Divine Grace Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki। Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki। Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki। Nitai Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, Text number 32. Yadha ete asangataha bhava yadaite sangata bhava yadaite asangata bhava bhuta indriya manaha gunaha bhutendriya manogunaha yadha ayatana nirmane yadayatana nirmane na Shekhuhu Brahmavittama Na Shekhur Brahmavittama यदैते असंगता भावा भूतेन्द्रिय मनोगुणाः यदायतन निर्माणे न शेकुर्ब्रह्मवित्तमा यदैते असंगता भावा भूतेन्द्रिय मनोगुणाः यदायतन निर्माणे न शेकुर्ब्रह्मवित्तमा संगता भावा यदायतन निर्माणे न शेकुर्ब्रह्मवित्तमा भूतेन्द्रिय मनोगुणाः यदायतन निर्माणे न शेकुर्ब्रह्मवित्तमा यदैते असंगता भावा भूतेन्द्रिय मनोगुणाः यदायतन निर्माणे न शेकुर्ब्रह्मवित्तमा यथा as long as ete all these asangataha without being assembled bhavaha remained so situated bhuta elements indriya senses manaha mind gunaha modes of nature yadha so long ayatana the body nirmane in being formed na shekuhu was not possible brahmavittama O Narada the best knower of transcendental knowledge. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. O Narada, best of the transcendentalists, the forms of the body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of nature, are not assembled. Translation with repetition. O Narada, best of the transcendentalists, the forms of the body cannot take place as long as these created parts, namely the elements, senses, mind, and modes of nature, are not assembled. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki. The different types of bodily construction of the living entities are exactly like different types of motor cars manufactured by assembling the allied motor parts. When the car is ready, the driver sits in the car and moves it as he desires. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. The living entity is as if seated on the machine of the body, and the car of the body is moving by the control of material nature. Just as the railway trains are moving under the direction of the controller, the living entities, however, are not the bodies. They are separate from the cars of the body. But the less intelligent material scientist cannot understand the process of assembling the parts of the body, namely the senses, the mind, and the qualities of the material modes. Every living entity is a spiritual spark, part and parcel of the Supreme Being, and by the kindness of the Lord, for the Father is kind to his sons, the individual living beings are given a little freedom to act according to their will, to lord it over the material nature. Just as a father gives some playthings to the crying child to satisfy him, the whole material creation is made possible by the will of the Lord to allow the bewildered living entities to lord it over things as they desire, although under the control of the agent of the Lord. The living entities are exactly like small children playing the material field under the control of the maid servant of the Lord, nature. They accept the Maya or the maid servant as all in all, and thus wrongly conceive the supreme truth to be feminine, goddess Durga, etc. The foolish childlike materialist cannot reach beyond the conception of the maid servant, material nature. But the intelligent grown-up sons of the Lord know well that all the acts of material nature are controlled by the Lord, just as a maid servant is under the control of the master, the father of the undeveloped children. The parts of the body, such as the senses, are the creation of the Mahat Tattva, and they are assembled by the will of the Lord. The material body comes into existence, and the living entity is allowed to use it for further activities. This is explained as follows. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militan Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. This is a verse from the second canto, 5th chapter, called The Cause of All Causes. This is the conversation between Lord Brahma and Narada. And Brahma is describing, he's answering the questions that Narada has asked about how, as a creator, you are able to do all this, create this material world. And Brahma is describing the process. Here in today's verse, Yada yete asangata bhava bhuta indriya manogunaha asangata bhava yada ayatana nirmane na shekuhu brahmavittama. The body has certain elements, bhuta, panchabhuta. Bhumira, ponalo, vayuhu, kammano, buddhire, etc. Bhuta, indriya, manaha, gunaha, the modes. These are the elements. These are the building blocks. Asangata, as long as they have not been assembled. Yada yete asangata bhava. In that state, bhava is the state of not yet being assembled. Till then, why all this is happening? Because of ayatana nirmane, because of the formation of the body. So, the form of the body, ayatana nirmane, does not happen till all the elements, the building blocks are assembled. And you can understand this, Narada, because you are Brahmavit, knower of the truth. You are not just the knower of the truth, you are Brahmavittama. You are the best among the knowers of the transcendental truth. Brahma means spiritual knowledge. Brahmavit means one who knows the spiritual knowledge. And Brahmavittama means the foremost among those who know the transcendental knowledge. O Narada, best of the transcendentalists, Brahmavittama, the forms of the body, ayatana nirmane, cannot take place, na shekuhu, as long as yada, these created parts, namely the elements, bhuta, indriya, senses, mind, manaha, and modes of nature, gunaha, are not assembled. Yada asangatha bhava. And very nicely, Srila Prabhupada has explained. Just like a motor car is assembled by bringing together the different motor parts, the body, the axle, steering, gearbox, engine, right? All of them are put together. And a car is made, and then a driver can sit inside and drive. In the same way, this body is assembled from building blocks, basic elemental parts, and then the living entity enters and drives around. This is the understanding. Actually, from the Bhagavatam and from the explanations given by our Acharyas, we get to understand our true position, our situation in the material world, what is happening. And that is elaborated by Srila Prabhupada in the purport we will see. In other words, we don't read Bhagavatam or the Gita just within a religious framework. We try to understand the existential philosophy from these literatures. Why we exist, why the world exists, why the world has been made in this way, why is it running in this way, what is the design, what is the purpose, why it is made by the Lord in this way, What was his intent? And what are we supposed to do? We get to understand. This is the existential philosophy, right? This is the philosophy to explain our very basic existence. And this is not in a religious framework, because it's not for whatever we are describing is applicable to a people of a certain religion only. No, this is universal. So, Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Goswamis take this Vedic explanation, Vedic literatures, onto a much larger scale of explaining the existential, the fundamental and universal existential philosophy of the world. We should appreciate from that perspective. Recently I was talking to one person, a scholar, an accomplished person, who's very well read in Vivekananda philosophy. I was telling him this perspective, that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Goswamis and Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explained the Vedic literatures in this way on a much, much fundamental, broader scale of understanding. And then I asked him, you know Vivekananda philosophy a lot. How does he explain? What does he explain? And then he thought for a few seconds, and then he said, he is beginning to appreciate Prabhupada philosophy now. And then he said, what he explains is that we should open hospitals for poor people. We should do seva for the poor people. That's the best thing. Just see, where is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy, Bhagavat philosophy? Actually, doing good, helping poor people, opening hospitals, digging wells, all these kind of things, it is part of Varnashrama. Where people work without attachment to their results and offer that for good work. That is considered Varnashrama. That's also important in the society. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Raya explained what is the goal of life, what is the purpose of life, what is the message of the Vedic literature, how do we attain that? And Ramananda Raya mentioned this as the first thing, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Iha Bahya Raya. This is external, Ramananda Raya. Tell something higher. And then he explains the next thing. Karma Yoga. Then he explains next thing. It goes higher, higher, higher. So the bottommost is Varnashrama. And that is what the great philosophers of our country, who are highly respected, that is what they are presenting. Actually, they have not gone at all understood. When you compare the quality and the rigor of the philosophical analysis that our Acharyas have done, the Bhagavatam is doing this. Not everyone is reading these things accurately. This is so special. So, the body and the different parts of the body and the bhuta indriyas, manas, all of them are assembled. It's like saying, in a manufacturing factory, if a good driver goes and says, "Can I get into this?" They'll say, "No, not ready yet. All things have not been assembled. Engine is not there. You can't go and sit inside. It won't run. Please wait." Till all the parts are put together, the driver cannot sit. That is what this Bhagavatam verse is saying. The driver can enter into the car and drive when it has been fully assembled and is ready. In the same way, the body gets assembled. Actually, this body is very, very complex. In fact, there's one scientist who says, Darwin came up with the idea of evolution. I don't remember how many, some 200 years back or something like that. 150 years back or whatever. At that time, the understanding of life forms was very simplistic. And so he could explain it as simple evolution. But today, this scientist argues, there is, at a certain time, science as it was developing, they developed an idea, a kind of science called molecular biology. During Darwin's time, molecular biology did not exist. They did not know how life is operating at a molecular level. They didn't have that understanding. They had some understanding of species and classification of species and forms and nomenclatures and some of these kind of ideas they had. So, this scientist argues that if Darwin were to explain life as we understand today, he would be stumbled. I'll give you some example of some complexity of this life body as we understand and as we see. We all know, we all experienced it. We were small babies and we started growing. Right? And our bodies started growing, hands started growing, the legs started growing, the body, the torso, different things started growing. Now, this growth is actually controlled and monitored by growth hormones. So at a certain age, the hormone begins to act to inhibit growth. It is encouraging growth, it is supporting growth, and at a certain point, it starts inhibiting. And so, we all know, after about say 18, 19, 20, we stop growing. Correct? Imagine that growth inhibiting hormone did not kick in at that right time. We'll keep growing. Someone can become 20 feet. He can't enter this. Imagine if a 20 feet man had to enter the 6 feet, 8 feet door. My God, he has to pay obeisance outside and then crawl in. And he can't come and stand up here. Normal life won't happen. You see how it is working? So that growth gets inhibited and it tapers off at 6.5, some little taller, but then it stops, fortunately. So like this, if you analyze all the different things that happen in this world, in our body, at the physiological level, molecular level, because these are happening at the molecular level. These hormones are acting at a molecular level. Not small thing. You see, another example I'll tell you. Say, The fruits become ripe and they are sweet now. And we are waiting. Mangoes, when will they become ripe in the tree? Right? Or papayas, when will they become sweet, ripe, and then we can go and pluck it and then we can eat it. Not only we are waiting, all the monkeys are waiting. Right? They also don't go and pluck a green mango. Usually, of course, sometimes they are. Vrindavan monkeys are very special maybe. But usually they don't. They'll wait for it to change the color. You see, for the green mango to become a red mango, and the hard green mango to become a soft, pulpy, juicy mango, a lot of chemical, molecular level changes are happening. The chlorophyll has to transform into another molecule called xanthophyll, which is green or which is red in color, orange in color. You see, that kind of a transformation is happening. And the hard starch which is present in the pulp of the fruit, green fruit, has to change into fructose, sugar. Then also it becomes soft, it becomes tasty. And all of this, green skin turning into orange and this becoming sweeter, all that is dependent on the growth of the seed. Seed formation is happening. If prematurely, if the fruit becomes red, ripe, seed is not ready, the purpose is not served. So, the seed formation, and when the seed is fully formed and mature, and at that time it becomes red and it becomes sweet and becomes soft and it becomes attractive for the eyes. That's why the monkeys, they are looking at from a tree, they can immediately spot where there is so many green leaves are there. It's camouflaged with amidst the green leaves when it is not ready for the monkey to come there. Monkey, birds, humans, everybody. When the seed is ready, now it is time for it to be plucked, and then you can eat it, and then you throw the seed somewhere else so that another plant will grow. Now, not just that, for the seed, for the fruit to be tasty, for us, for monkeys, and for some birds, our tongue, how it is constituted, and how when that pulp falls on our tongue, tasty mango. You see, all that is all biochemical, molecular level activity that goes on. How it is all coordinated design. How did the mango tree figure out human beings have a tongue which is of this kind and they will like my mango? Just see. Very complex. This is called Ayatana Nirmana. Formation of the body. Different kinds of body. Animal body, human body, Devata body, bird body, insect body. All of this. So, there is this very, very complex thing going on around us. We don't recognize it. There's one scientist, I might have mentioned, you must have heard, I've mentioned this earlier sometimes. There's one scientist who wrote a paper, and he was a PhD student, very brilliant guy in MIT. He wrote a paper, and that paper became the basis of nanotechnology. Basically, he studied biological forms, life forms. And he said at the biological level, at the minutest level, there are things which are working like a pump, for transporting some. For example, just look at this. You have a coconut tree. Coconut trees are quite tall, 25 feet, around that. It's a long tree, no leaves at all in between, only it has a crown. And there it has a coconut. And the water, there is water in the coconut, right? And it has got all the minerals, everything. This tree has lifted the water from the earth and lifted it all the way 25 feet, taken certain minerals from the earth, and not all earth minerals, then it also transformed it and all the different changes it happens. And there is green coconut water. And we can take that and, wow, nice coconut, very, very refreshing. You see how water gets pumped to 25 feet height. So he studied some of these kind of things, and then he said in biological systems, there are very, very complex things going on. And can we create a technology where at a molecular level we are manipulating things, matter, energy, and moving things like that, so that we can build very, very tiny, highly integrated, very large scale, ultra large scale integrated systems. And that's how nanotechnology has come about, and it is still emerging. So he writes, actually if you look around us, plants, trees, leaves, animals, some of the things that are happening, for instance, you take a leaf. What's happening in a leaf is 1,000,000 times more complex processing than what happens in an Intel chip. The kind of processing that's happening. And at the end of the day, the Intel chip, after some years of use, it becomes an electronic waste which is hard to dispose. Whereas a leaf is doing 1,000,000 times more complex operations, and it is biodegradable. Nothing happens. A leaf falls to the ground and then it gets absorbed. No waste. So like this he argues. So you can see how this is all happening, and all of this is assembled and made in a certain way, and then the living entity enters, and the living entity moves around with this body. And that's what is happening to us. Our body was formed, and then the living entity entered, and the living entity comes out and then starts moving around. Now, when you see such complexity, an important thinking mind will ask the question, why has all these complex things been assembled with so much complexity? Why is it done this way? Should we not know that? It's just like saying, I have a car and I keep driving. Simply I keep driving. No, nobody does that. Everybody has a certain goal. I'm going to my house, I'm going to my office, I'm going to drop my child in the school. That's why they are driving the car. Just now I was coming, we saw a school van coming in. Oh, school van is coming. Why that's coming? No, simply he wanted to drive around VCM campus and so he's driving. No, it's not true. He's coming to pick up some child. There is a purpose. In the same way, there is a purpose of life. We have to understand that. Now, for us to understand the purpose of life, we must break down what is this life, what is this body. That's what Krishna begins to say. There are actually two important elements in this body. There is a apara prakriti and there is a para prakriti. Apara prakriti is the inferior material nature which is made of this panchabhuta, the body, all this. And there is a para prakriti which is the living entity which has entered, and because of the presence of that living entity, the para prakriti element, this body is animated. When that para prakriti leaves this body, gone, I'll be gone. I can't speak, I can't move my hands, legs. So who am I that we talk about? Hey, you, me, we, all of us we are talking about. Who are we referring to? It is this apara prakriti body or the para prakriti element which was actually inhabiting and moving. When somebody dies, we say, oh, he is gone, she is gone. We will cry. Who is gone? That person with whom you are relating is still there. No, the apara prakriti element went away, and this is just the apara prakriti is left, is behind. The para prakriti element went away. So that means the person I was relating with is actually the para prakriti element, not the apara prakriti. You see? Actually, these are all very profound concepts that Srila Prabhupada has very nicely made it understandable. That is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was a magistrate and he was English educated at that time, and he was well versed in certain aspects of the Western philosophy he had studied. And he was pretty much influenced by even Christian theology. And he was writing articles. He was a brilliant person. And at some point in his life, he comes in touch with Chaitanya Charitamrita and he reads that. And when he reads Chaitanya Charitamrita, he reads the philosophical discussions that is happening between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sanatan Goswami on the banks of Ganga in Banaras. And then he reads that conversation, the teachings that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving to Rupa Goswami at Prayag. In Gaudiya tradition, this is known as Sanatan Shiksha and Rupa Shiksha. Prabhupada also uses those expressions sometimes. Instructions to Rupa Goswami, instructions to Sanatan Goswami. There, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explains to Rupa and Sanatana how to read the Vedic literatures and draw an understanding about the philosophy of life. That's where the existential philosophy of the universe, of the world, of life becomes manifest from the Vedic reading. When Bhaktivinoda Thakur reads that, it strikes to him, this is very special. I have not seen this explanation about life, about cosmos, about the universe, even in Western thinkers. This has to be presented systematically, and this has to go all over the world to all those thinking, inquisitive minds who are trying to understand what is life, what is this universe about. Now this explanation of the Vedic literatures given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is world class. This is incomparable. And that is why he sets about writing books, writing essays, and he prays to Jagannath to send a son who will continue his work. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur put all these things more vividly, more clearly, expanding on the work of his father. But still it was not ready, because largely it was in Bengali or Sanskrit and Victorian English, not easy to understand. And then it was Srila Prabhupada who came, who understood this and presented it in simple language. These are all very, very, very special things that are happening. Not everybody knows these things, what these Acharyas' contributions are, how they have brought about understanding of a universal and very fundamental existential philosophy. Now, Prabhupada is further explaining in the purport. Now all this is happening. You may see cars moving, you may see trains moving, and the trains are all moving and there is a controller. There is a certain plan. And that is, the living entities have been given that para-prakriti element which we are. But we usually spend our whole life thinking, I am the apara-prakriti body. You see how we are stuck in that fundamental flaw. We are attached to our body. We are only if our life is full of just plans to gratify this body. But we are not the body. We are a spirit soul. And we are a spirit soul, and we have been given some amount of freedom by the Lord, who is like a father, who tells children, okay, you play here. Because the father or the mother, they are busy doing something else. They give them some toys and you play. And the children are playing. Oh, this is camel, this is elephant, this is a king, this is queen, and this, how we also have played like that. And all the grand activities happening in the material world are simply like children playing with toys. We call it human rights, animal rights movement, this movement, social justice movement, all these big things that's going on in the material world. This is just playing of children, not knowing what is the purpose of all this. Children will be playing with toys, elephant, horse, tiger, lion, this, that. Then father, mother will come and say, enough, put them all aside, go. And then all toys are packed up and then gone. Forest, king, queen, this, prince, a kingdom, everything gone. Same thing is happening to us. In this world, my estate, my property, I am this, I am the Lord, I am this, or this is my wealth, everything at one time, over, go, next. The father tells and we have to go. And mother material nature says we have to go. We cannot stay. No, please, I want to, no, you cannot stay. Go, over. This is what is happening. So the fundamental question is, why is the father and the mother material nature doing all this to me? Is it some random game? No. There is a purpose. As living entities, we all have a relation with the Supreme and we have forgotten that relationship. How much seriously we have forgotten? I'll give you one example. Actually, it's a very serious thing. You see, recently I was talking to somebody who had come here in Vrindavan, to somebody. And I was telling this person, Krishna teaches in the Gita and the Bhagavatam, we all have a relation with the Supreme. And then to further intensify it, I told this person, we all have an eternal relation with the Supreme. I was testing. Actually, something was going on in my mind. I'll tell you what it was. Then I wanted to further intensify it. The Vedic literature state, Krishna is teaching, we all have an intimate and eternal and intimate relation with the Supreme. And I was noticing the person, it was not at all affecting that person. It was like he was processing the information I'm giving. It was like, understanding and processing, grasping it intellectually. But it was not, it did not or it does not create the kind of an impact it is supposed to create. Even for us, not only for that person, even for us. It is not creating. To give you an example, I'll give you an example of this. There is a drama. Here there is a man who is an actor. And there are, whole cast is there. And he is the king in that play. I'm the director of that play. And I done the casting and you be the king, she will be the queen, and this will be the child, prince, and he will be the villain, rival king who's trying to disturb, etc. And then, now the curtain is opened, lights have turned on, and they have rehearsed well, and the actors have assembled, are doing very well, I have directed very well, they are delivering dialogues like a king, and people are watching and they are liking it. The queen, she is delivering her dialogues, king is delivering his dialogues, the bad guy is delivering his dialogues, all action wonderfully going on. And then the drama is over, the curtain closes. And after the curtain closes also, that man is still thinking, I am the king, and he's speaking to the queen, and then come, do this, let us do this. As a director, I'll say, hey, what's going wrong with you? Over, you're no more the king. Please take off your robes. He say, no, I'm the king. He doesn't want to take off his crown. He's become attached to the thing. Something is wrong, isn't it? And now, his real wife has come. Drama over, come, let's go home. He's not relating with her, he's relating with the queen. She will come, what she will do? She will give one tight one to him. Come home, pull him and drag him home. No, my queen, my kingdom. He has a real relation with the wife. Not with this drama relation. Drama relation was for the drama. His real wife is coming. Hey, come, let's go home. Did you get your salary? Come, go home. Let's go home. So his real relation is with the wife, and the relation with the king and the queen and the villain and the prince, that was all drama. Not real at all. So in the same way, we are all relating in this world. My wife, my child, my husband, my home, my father, my brother, my mother. All very emotionally we are involved, isn't it? So much, what our mothers have done. Yeah, what our fathers have, we feel for that. I'm not denying it. Do not think that I am trivializing or minimizing the role of father. I'm not doing any such thing. I'm just saying. But now Krishna is saying, the Vedic literatures are pointing out, we have our eternal relation with Krishna, and that's an eternal relation, that's an intimate relation. And it is not striking us. It's not at all, it's not pulling our emotions and feelings. That Krishna, Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha. Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the grandsire, I am the provider, I am the support for everyone in this universe. And when we read that, it's not pulling, our hearts are not being pulled at all. We are hearing, okay, I'm processing what you are saying. If the wife comes and tells, come home, and he is still, no, I have a lot of things to do with my queen and with my, all those things. No, you have a relation with me. And he says, yes, I am processing the information. Yeah, you have told me that you are my wife. I am processing the information. Come home now. She will not spare him. If he says, I am processing your information that you have given me. I am your husband. I am quite involved with my queen and others here. Isn't it? That's what is actually happening to us. When Krishna says, I am your father, I am your mother, and we have an intimate relationship. Come back to the spiritual world. I'm processing that information, Krishna. Thank you for that information. I'm a little busy here in this world. I have, a lot of relationships here, a lot of duties coming out of the relationship here. Look at the level of ignorance we are in. And our Acharyas are revealing this to us. There were others. They also read Vedic literatures. They said you should open hospitals. They didn't come to this understanding. They didn't come to get to the real bottom of things. So, all these are very, very special things that Srila Prabhupada, there are more things in this purport, interesting things. We'll keep it for some other day and we will close now. And if there is some question, I'll try to answer.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, even in the Vedic literatures, there is a Sankhya philosophy of studying the material world with the 24 elements. And Prabhupada explains there is a theistic Sankhya and atheistic Sankhya. Now, mostly the modern science is based on atheistic view of not giving any importance to the soul or the non-material element in the body. So because of that, the whole world's understanding about the material world is there is no, to understand the world there is no requirement of the element called soul or the super soul or the spiritual world, not required. Now, even as devotees sometimes, at least in the beginning stages, sometimes we forget that we are, when we are living our life of devotional service, sometimes we forget that we are spirit soul and we act in a bodily consciousness. One reason may be the way we are brought up and how the whole world is running, because there is no element of soul in any sphere of life. Maybe only in the religious sphere of life, and that also very much limited. So, my question is, one is for the devotees and people in general. When we are living our life and studying or understanding the world, so how to ensure this spiritual element in all spheres of life or in all our activities in life? Because if we forget that, then material world becomes real, looks real, and then spiritual world becomes phantasmagoria or the illusion.
So now you see, to recognize the spiritual basis, to be conscious of the spiritual basis, not just at an intellectual level, it requires a process of education, and that's called sadhana. To be always conscious of the spiritual constitution of ourself, that's called Brahma Bhuta stage. Always conscious that this is matter, I am spirit. Usually we are in, I am matter, there is no understanding of spirit. That's how we live. So to change that perspective and understanding and constantly living by that reality, it requires sadhana. It's a spiritual process of education, transformation, rectification of our understanding, of our consciousness. And that is why when we do that, we become gradually situated in the spiritual platform. This is how Prabhupada explained that we will become situated not on the material platform, on the spiritual platform. That being situated on the spiritual platform always is called Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. And the fundamental characteristic of that is Prasannatma. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. Na shochati, na kangshati. Very joyful. So, what we are doing? Chanting, associating with devotees, doing kirtan, taking prasadam, doing seva, all of these things, if we do it consciously, mindfully, soulfully, aware of these things, sensitively reading Prabhupada's books and applying it, then our consciousness can become transformed and we can be on a Brahma Bhuya, Brahma Bhuta stage. That is the process. Yes.
It is said that even if once chanted Hare Krishna, one can get liberated, or similarly once surrendered, at once he is done. But then there is a further understanding that it should be Shuddha Naam, or it should be completely pure surrender. Similarly, when it is said that when we chant once in the Holy Dham, it gives the result of 1,000 times chanting or doing any auspicious activity like that. So the question is, does the same rule apply here, that it is as per my consciousness, how I am conscious, that much the phala will be, like getting the result 1,000 times. Is it every single chant? And then if it is so, then why am I not feeling that I am progressing 1,000 times faster? It is said that devotional service is a process where it's like Prabhupada says, like eating. Morsel by morsel you feel that satisfaction. So, am I getting that 1,000 time result every time or only when I am conscious?
Okay. So Prabhupada says, there is a quality to performing our devotional activities. That is why Kunti Maharani says, Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edamana Matah Puman Naivarhatyabhidhatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gochara. If one is Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edamana Matah Puman, one is absorbed in increasing. Edamana means to enhance, to enrich, to increase. What? Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shri. Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edamana Madhav Puman. And one has become Madha, intoxicated with increasing these things. Their life is like that. then naivarhatya bhidatum. Why? If your mind, if your consciousness is intoxicated with increasing Janma Aishwarya Shruta, Shri, then you will not be able to abhidhatum, means to call out. Naivarhatya abhidhatum. Why? One will not be able to call out to Krishna. Tvama kinchana gochara. So, in that purport, if you see, Prabhupada says, there is a quality to our chanting. There is a quality to our calling out. There is a quality to our surrender. Usually, we call out, we chant, we do it officially. Mostly our sadhana is official. Of course, official sadhana leads to pure sadhana. So it is all about quality of our calling out. Yes, it is the quality. And with that quality, if we call out and if we do our sadhana, we will have that effect that the Shastras are promising.
In the sense of saying that we say in Vrindavan Dham, when one chants, then one chant is equal to 1,000 chants.
Yeah.
So in that also this quality principle is always applied?
Yes, even in that there is quality, applies. But nevertheless, that effect of Dham will further accelerate. Like Prabhupada said, you chant in the temple, it is 1,000 times more than chanting outside the temple. So it is 1,000 times more. It is. So then even after that, why I am not becoming a devotee? One may ask. That is because we have a mountain of impurities. It's not a small one bag of impurity. So our level of sadhana is, we have a mountain of impurity. We are using a small goldsmith's hammer and trying to knock off. One day I will finish the whole mountain. Because I have a small, very good hammer I have got. Tick, 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 I can. You see? So when we recognize that there is so much of ignorance and illusion and contamination, then we will understand that yes, it is taking time and I have to persevere and continue to do it. Then we will feel confident about it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So ultimately it is, like Prabhu asks, ultimately it is all about how we chant, like how much consciously we do. So but why it is always said, like why, like Prabhupada always says, in Vrindavan you are chanting, it is 1,000 times benefiting, like. And if we hear about this Acharya, hear about this pastime of the Lord, you will be liberated, you will go back to Godhead, hearing of. So why it is not said term and condition applied? Why it is directly said? No,
it is also, terms and conditions are also written elsewhere. You are not reading it. You have not given sufficient importance to it.
We never see that anybody say that. If you do...
No, naivarhatya abhidatum, why? She is telling. Otherwise you cannot simply, there is a quality to your calling out for Krishna. Kunti Devi is saying. Many places it is said.
So if its quality is only the thing, then why the importance of hearing the pastime? Quality is the everything.
Even that poor quality hearing also has some benefit. So, nivritta tarshair upagiya manat bhavaushadi charatra manobhiramat. It is bhavaushadi. Hearing Krishna's pastime, it is bhavaushadi. Little by little, takes time. We should take. But if we do it little consciously and nicely, the way according to Acharya's instruction, it will become, the curative power is much faster, it will work. Usually, we have to be constantly reminded. Our ignorance is so thick, we forget. How much we have heard about qualitative chanting, distinctly pronounce and hear. Prabhupada has said, but do we do that? We forget. We start thinking, we start doing so many other things. We forget. We have to be constantly reminded. See the level of ignorance. So we must appreciate that. Then we will understand that I have to do it more and more. We'll stop here. One more question. Nitya Triptas. Last question.
You said about the mountain and the hammer actually. So are we in a really hopeless state? Is there any hope for us to clear the mountain?
That is why Anirvinna Chetasaha, Krishna says, a person doing yoga should not lose hope. And in that context, Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushana gives the example of the sparrow on Garuda. Sparrow trying to empty the ocean. Don't lose hope. Keep trying. When the sparrow is trying to empty the ocean, what is it? When is it ever going to happen? Will it be possible for a sparrow to empty an ocean with its small beaks of water? How much water it can hold? Don't lose hope. Garuda will come. That is our hope. Krishna's mercy will come. Guru's mercy will come. And the qualification to get Guru's and Krishna's mercy is our sincere attempt. That is a qualification. When the spiritual master sees, when Krishna sees that we are making an attempt, their support will come. So we should continue doing. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam. Vrindavan Chandra ki, Shri Nitai Gauranga ki, Shri Vrindavan Dham ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.